Hi guys, Chris here and you're watching Here We Are Running, and today we are doing a shoe review of the Brooks Adrenaline GTS 21, a shoe that I have now run more than 50 miles in, or 80 kilometers. And in this video I'm going to quickly take you through the features of the shoe, and then whilst I'm out on a run I'll tell you what I feel about it and how I'm going to be using it in my running shoe rotation. And the key features of the shoe are up on the screen now. And first thing to say is this is a stability running shoe. It's one of the more popular stability running shoes in the Brooks range, and it provides stability using guide rails. They sit at each side of the shoe. You can see them there and there. They act a little bit like the bumpers at a bowling alley. And that means that if your foot doesn't really roll at all when it's landing, then the guide rails are not going to get in the way of the way that you run. But if it does roll one way or the other, the guide rails are going to kind of prevent that from happening somewhat. And this is particularly what Brooks say is particularly important to try to avoid knee injuries. Now, the other stability feature that I always mention is the heel counter. It's a pretty solid heel counter in this shoe, mainly internal, but there's a little bit of external element to it there as well. And you'll find that in stability shoes. It's going to keep the heel locked into the shoe, and it does that really well on this shoe. There is this other thing here, which is new on the 21. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm not really sure the purpose. Whether that's adding any, it's a bit squishy. Whether that's adding, it's on both sides. Whether that's adding any more stability, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what it's for at all, actually, to be honest. But there you go. Now, the midsole on this, they have changed it in this model. They have used their DNA loft midsole all the way through from heel to toe, and they say that helps with the whole transition. It's got a 12mm heel to toe drop on this shoe, which is nothing new for the Brooks Adrenaline GTS range, but worth mentioning because I know some people do prefer less than that. The shoe boasts a new 3D engineered mesh upper, offering some breathability here at the front. Also, some overlay here with the Brooks logo, but also, I don't know if you can see it, but there are some segments on here which look like they're little reflective elements. It has a nice padded tongue to it, and with the lacing system, all adding to the ability to lock your foot into the shoe really well. Let's take a look at the outsole. Now, I always find with this shoe, and the outsole is very similar to the previous versions of this shoe, I do find with this shoe that it's got some good rubber to it on the outsole. You can wear this in most conditions and you're not going to slip and slide around at all. There's some good grip that the shoe is offering. A quick mention to the weight of the shoe. Now, this is not trying to be a lightweight shoe. Most stability shoes aren't. They have managed though to knock a few grams off of the weight compared to the previous version of this shoe. Up on the screen now what my size weighs. Now, I'm a UK size 11, so just bear that in mind. And as I say, yeah, not lightweight by any means, but at least they have reduced the weight slightly from what it was last year. Now, the GTS stands for go-to shoe, and Brooks are basically saying you can wear this shoe for any of your runs. So you could wear it, yes, for shorter runs, for your 5k park runs, for your 10ks. But for me, this shoe works best for
half marathon distance or above, and whether you're doing a race at that distance or just your long runs. I think that's what this shoe is most suited for. Yes, you can do short distances in it. It's not a really speedy shoe though. It's more about comfort and fit and really soaking up those miles. Now, if I was to compare the cushioning on the last 3 iterations of the Adrenaline GTS shoe, I would say that the 19 is the most cushioned, but it didn't have a huge amount of responsiveness to it. The 20 had a much firmer feel to it, a little bit of responsiveness, but the difference with the 21 is they've found some of that cushioning that you used to get with the 19, but there's also quite a bit of bounce to it. And the fit of the GTS 21, it's good. It really does fit well on my foot anyway. And the stability features are more subtle in this shoe than in some other stability shoes. And because of that, when you're running in it, you don't really feel like you're running in a stability shoe, yet you know that those guide rails and the sort of heel counter are helping to keep your foot stable as you're running it. And whilst it isn't a really fast shoe, I have done a 10k time trial in it recently and managed to get within half a minute of my PB at that distance. So is there anything that I don't like about the Adrenaline GTS 21? Well, these are quite minor points, by the way, guys. I would have preferred it if they could have knocked a little bit of weight off, a little bit more weight off there. That would have helped a bit more. And maybe the weight distribution isn't as good as some other shoes. So, you know, that whole kind of transition from landing through to taking off again, it's not quite as smooth, I would say, as I get from some of my other shoes. But these are quite minor points. This is still a shoe that I am going to wear a lot and get kind of maximum distance out of, as I say, for my everyday type of runs and also my long runs.
So there you have it, guys, the Brooks Adrenaline GTS 21. And I really do hope that you have enjoyed this review of the shoe. And if you have, and you've got some value out of it, please do hit that thumbs up button to give the video a like. And if you're new around here, well, why not consider subscribing for regular running content? But for now, guys, goodbye.